Thanks for coming back. You're watching the I-24 News Desk. I'm Tal Henrik, and we continue our extended news update for this hour with our guest here in the studio, Yariv Oppenheimer, former director of Peace Now, and Ron Bar-Yoshafat, an attorney and author. Gentlemen, thank you for coming here today. As we know, especially, if we talk about the history, the last few days of the Ramadan fast are usually very tight with security, especially in Jerusalem. But this time, it seems that the attack on Friday was somewhat different, especially since ISIS, the Islamic State, has claimed responsibility for it. Not that it's true. According to Israeli authorities, as hours go by, they say that it's very unlikely that the Islamic State is in fact behind it. However, this announcement by the terror group serves Israel interests. Is it so?
It depends who is speaking about the Israeli interest. There is a motivation of the government, the current right-wing government, to say that all terrorist attacks are the same and there is no different reason for this attack rather than Islamic jihad against the West and against Israel. I'm not buying it. And actually I heard the mother of the terrorist yesterday after this horrible incident, and she was talking about the frustration of her son that he is not allowed to go to Al-Aqsa Mosque. And this is actually my understanding about it. It's not a reason for that, but this is what's going on behind the scenes. And if we want to stop terrorist attack, we need to understand what's going on. And what's going on is the occupation. When the Palestinian youth is living under the Israeli control for so many years, and they feel frustrated and they feel humiliated by Israel on a daily basis. Some will say, okay, this is my life, I have nothing to do with that. Some will support peace process with Israel in order to solve it. And some will decide that they would like to become a shaheed and to kill Israelis and to resist by killing and making terrorist attack. This is what we are facing.
Ron, is it occupation, frustration, as Yariv is saying here, or is it part of a bigger problem, an international problem of terror, as we know the linkage that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu likes to present to the world and the media?
I think the main issue is incitement, because there are 12 other cases in the world when you have occupation and you don't see these terror attacks. For the past 5 years, I've been going over the Shin Bet's reports. Every month we've had over 100 terror attacks. We just don't always hear about it because you don't always have casualties, thank God. And you mainly hear about it when the terrorists are also being killed. To argue that because of their situation, that is why there is terror, for me, that's like saying it's okay to rape a woman because she was wearing a short skirt. It has nothing to do with it. You're not allowed to murder innocent people. It's not okay. I don't care how frustrated they are. It doesn't make any sense. It's in a whole different moral ballgame.
I didn't say it's allowed, but if you want to stop something from happening, you need to learn what's going on behind the scene, not because you want to justify it, but because you want to face the truth. And the truth is that the young Palestinians that are suffering all their life
But he's
from the
also
Israeli
talking about young
occupation,
Palestinians and incitement.
Of course,
aimed at them.
But the incitement, the best incitement of these Palestinian youth is their personal experience, when they are living under Israeli control for all of their life. And this is what they know about Israel, that Israel is occupying them and they have no rights. So some will have motivation to do terrorist attack. I'm not justify, I condemn it, they want to attack me, they want to attack you. It doesn't make any difference between our political opinion. But in order to stop the next one from doing it, I need to understand what's going on. And what's going on is the fact that we are still in conflict with the Palestinians, and this conflict is about occupation. And when the Israeli government is saying we are there in order to control the West Bank forever and ever, this will be the prize, unfortunately.
Speaking of condemnations, the U.S. administration under President Trump has been trying to push the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to condemn such terror attacks and also not to pay the families of terrorists who committed them. And not only that, we didn't see a condemnation from President Abbas to this attack on Friday, we also saw him condemning the Israeli security forces for killing those terrorists who committed it. Did you expect some different response from Palestinian president this time around?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really have a lot of expectations. Let's just put things in the proper frame. If you're a terrorist and you murder a Jew and you're killed in the process, you will be glorified. They will name a town square after you or a soccer team after you. If you killed an Israeli citizen and you're in the Israeli prison, you will get more money than a school teacher under the PA. That is the main problem. That is the core incitement. I think people are people wherever they're coming from, and the fact that they're acting differently here is not because of the quote-unquote suffering most of the Arabs in Judea and Samaria are under the PA. It is because of the incitement and the glorification of terror. That is what's causing it. It's worthwhile for a young teenager to commit an act of terror because they'll make more money out of it.
Yariv, you mentioned the mother of one of the terrorists before. When such a mother speaks on Palestinian TV, can Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas say something else and condemn the attack when she...
She actually was quoted also in Israeli press.
Saying, I would not shed a tear over my son since he's a that's the quote I saw.
I saw about the going up to the Temple Mount, but we need to understand that what's going on in the Palestinian society is almost impossible. Because in the eyes of the Palestinians, these young terrorists, I will call them a terrorist, but for their point of view, these are the fighters that are fighting for the rights of the Palestinian people.
So Abbas can't condemn them?
Abbas has a very difficult situation because when they are attacking Israeli soldiers, for most of the Palestinian people, this is the army of Palestine because they have no army. Now, I'm not justifying it. I think that Abbas is making a mistake by not condemning it, and I don't like the fact that they are getting money for that, but this is not the reason. And we need to understand that Abbas is daily working with Israeli forces about stopping Hamas from making much bigger and much more dangerous suicide attack and Hamas attack against Israel. We collaborate daily with people that in the past were considered to be terrorists that were acting against Israel, and today they are working with us in the PA, but we cannot force the PA to condemn the young people that are fighting for their independence. This is the narrative of the Palestinian. If you just want to win the blame game, so we can go to this place. But if you want to make something constructive for the future, we need to understand that Abbas has his own problem with his own public opinion, and without showing that there is another way, the terrorist will win.
Ron, your final thoughts?
So I think three things. First, we need to be aware of the phenomenon. There are over 100 terror attacks every month. We just hear about it more if the terrorist is being killed in the process, number one. Number two, we disagree on how to solve it. I would say in order to solve it, the first and most important thing is to stop their funding. Stop their funding for incitement, stop their funding in their school that's incitement, and stop funding and the glorification of those who were actually able to achieve and murder Israeli. A third and third-most thing, we need to make sure that our citizens are protected.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming here and for this fascinating discussion.